Vernomatic Productions.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold. We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team.
It's getting nice and heavy.
Now, welcome our hosts, John the Vernomatic Verno, and direct from New Jersey, Metal Walt.
Good evening, everybody, and holiday cheer to all. They say it's better to give than to receive during the holiday season, and our very own Metal Walt's coming around with one hell of a unique collaboration story. George Lynch, the guitar virtuoso from Dokken, he's putting together a new project, and he came around with a upstart vocalist. Walt, what's the deal with this collaboration story?
This is a hidden gem of an album, John. It's called Cassandra's Crossing, and it contains, of course, George Lynch of Dokken and Lynch Mob. But he found this vocalist, Casandra Carson, probably best known for her band Paralandra, as well as the LIFE Project, something she collaborates with Josh Rand of Stone Sorrow. But what Cassandra is she's one of these vocalists that reminds you of like a Lizzie Hale. She plays guitar, she's passionate and into it, and she just plays that music like that modern rock that we all love that's become very, very popular. But the cool part of this is her band was opening up for Lynch Mob. She jumped on stage a few times and jammed with them. She's dating the bassist of Lynch Mob, Jared Galino, who we know from our Heaven's Edge interview. And the next thing you know, George is like, I want to have you sing on this project. How they put the whole thing together and how a collaboration came about to make this album, well, you'll hear it in the interview, but it's a really, really great story and a must listen for fans that love Dokken, Lynch Mob, and bands like Hailstorm.
Yeah, you know, when Walt brought this around and I saw the backstory of it, I was into it. I'm like, hey, it's not the normal run-of-the-mill, interviews, but it's a cool story. So it's a perfect episode for this holiday season. Drive around, maybe doing some last-minute shopping, and check it out. But before we jump into that, invite you to get over to metalmayhemroc.com. Check out our new winter merchandise merch page, hoodies, hats, t-shirts. While you're up there, sign up for the newsletter to get exclusive updates on all our new episodes on Hear the Podcast, up on our YouTube channel. Let's see. We also have our Mixcloud radio show location with all the Monday night radio shows I do. So again, that's metalmayhemroc.com. Sign up for the newsletter. If you missed some recent episodes, last week we had Tony Simmerman, founder of Knucklebones, the collectible rock and metal figurine company. We have a 10% discount code right up there, MMROC10. They'll get you 10% off at this holiday season. We had Adam Wakeman a couple weeks ago doing his Jazz Sabbath album, Roger Earl and Foghat, and Walt and I had Mark Storaci from Crocus at the beginning of the month. So again, that's up at metalmayhemroc.com. If you enjoy what we're doing here, leave us a review on Apple Podcast or wherever you're listening to the pod. Share it with your friends, and you may even get a shout out in future episodes. All right, well, let's get into this week's episode. George Lynch, Casandra Carson, Cassandra's Crossing. For my co-host, Metal Walt, I'm the Vernomatic, wishing you a happy holiday season. We are Metal Mayhem ROC.
Cassandra, welcome to Metal Mayhem ROC.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
This is great. So congratulations on the new album. I mean, listen, the album kicks ass, and it really just covers like all the best things that we love about heavy melodic, like hard rock music. Listen, I can't say enough about your singing. You're a powerhouse vocalist, and so much talent there. You're a guitar player, a songwriter. So I really want to hear all about your upbringing. But before we get into the new product, I always like to ask the artists, like, take us through your musical upbringing. Like, what was the stuff played around your house? What were your parents listening to? Maybe your brothers and sisters? Like, and where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Springfield, Missouri, and I came from a very musical family. Like my mom's side of the family, they're all singers. So like any kind of family function, like Christmas, 4th of July, doesn't matter. Like people would break out into 4-part harmony like all the time. So singing, learning harmonies, that was like always just part of my life. I thought it was very normal. I thought that everybody could sing. So like that was just kind of like, I don't know, very normal for me. Um, but my dad, he was kind of like the only musician from his family, and he played guitar and he listened to a lot of Christian rock. We listened to a lot of Petra, Resurrection Band. He loved Eddie Van Halen, so there was a lot of Van Halen being played in the house. The Beatles, also this band called Love War, which is like one of my favorites, a little lesser known. But a lot of like those, hard rock, but very melodic influences, was what I grew up with. And, saying all this now, it really makes sense, like why I've kind of formed into the writer that I have.
And so, like, when did you become a musician yourself? Like, let's say deciding to be a singer or pick up a guitar, and like, yeah, those maybe were like what you heard around the house, but like, what were the bands and the artists that inspired you?
I got my first guitar when I was 11 years old, and I was so excited. I was listening to Van Halen. I was very much like, when I turned 11, like 10 or 11 years old, I was really like figuring out that I was like this rocker chick at heart. Like, it was like from that moment that I was like, okay, this is my life. Uh, so I was listening to Van Halen, Metallica, Queensryche. I found out about Alter Bridge around that time, and Alter Bridge was extremely influential on me as just a songwriter and just as a musician. So like those were kind of the things that were inspiring me to want to play music, and then also to want to just write it. Yeah, that's kind of where it all started, I guess.
Bro, that's cool. Alter Bridge, right? I mean, yeah, they're a popular band, great musicians there. Of course, Mark Tremonti, but that's not one you normally hear as, let's say, an inspiration. Of course, Eddie Van Halen, but Cassandra, you've obviously you've had your own band, Paralandra, and you've also collaborated with Josh Rand of Stone Sour in the Life Project. So take us through a little bit of the back history of those bands. Like, is that where you got your start? And are those bands still active today? Because I do think Paralandra is out on tour right now, correct?
Yeah, so Paralandra, we started in 2013, and I guess I didn't mention this before, but like I refused to sing in front of anybody from like age 6 to like 18, pretty much. I was like, I'm just a guitar player and that's it. I just wanted to shred like my dad, you know. So when I was in my teens, in middle school, high school, I started like songwriting. And when I was feeling super, super brave, I would take whatever song idea I had and showed my dad. And slowly but surely, you know, I'd show him idea after idea, and he would always give me really positive feedback. And I was like, wow, that's really great. That's a cool idea. And was very encouraging. And he would even help me expand upon my ideas. And it's like, well, what if you went to like a cool chord like this? And I'd be like, whoa, yeah, that's a cool idea. So very naturally, we started kind of collaborating on music together. And it was around the time I was like 18, 19 years old that my and I had been really like seriously starting to write songs together, that we were like, why don't we do a show? Like, what if we played some of these songs live? Like, wouldn't that be crazy? And so just for like this one time, like 4th of July event in our little hometown of Rogersville, Missouri, we put together a band. My brother played the drums. One of our good lifelong friends played bass with us. And we had a great time. It was super fun. We got to play our originals. We played some Beatles and King's X and Simon and Garfunkel. Like, we were just kind of throwing everything at the fan or at the wall and just like seeing what would happen. After the first show, it was so much fun. We decided to do it again. We just continued to write. We started recording stuff at home, made our own CD, and literally, like, this was never a plan, like, to make Paralandra my full-time job. It was a dream, but it really just kind of snowballed into it because we didn't stop. We just kept booking shows. We kept writing music. Then, we wanted to get into a nice studio and record, better sounding material. And, all of these years later, we still are just like having the time of our lives, having so much fun, writing, recording, traveling together, seeing the world, So it's been very organic and natural as far as Paralandra goes. And yeah, we're still active. I'm literally on tour right now.
And you said you're in Boise, Idaho?
Yeah, I'm in Boise, Idaho today, which my first time in this state. So I'm still, checking things off of my bucket list, even, 11 years later from doing this band. But yeah, it's been really cool.
Metal Mayhem ROC.
I'm Metalhead.
Metal Mayhem ROC is the home for metal from the very beginnings.
This is James the Bear from Hellstar. You're listening to Burn-O-Matic.
Dave Overkill from the Cleveland band Destructor. Hey, Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great.
To longtime headliners.
Hey, this is Red Beach from Whitesnake.
Hey, this is Vinny Appice from Dio, Black Sabbath, and Last in Line.
To music of today.
Hi, this is Olaf Wickstrand from Enforcer.
Hi, this is Braun from Mastodon.
You're listening to Metal Mayhem ROC.
With John the Burn-O-Matic Burner.
Plus, we talk with producers and authors to give you behind-the-scenes info.
Hi, this is William Irwin, author of The Meaning of Metallica, Ride the Lyrics.
Greg Renoff, the author of the book Van Halen Rising and the Ted Templeman book, A Platinum Producer's Life in Music.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Metal Mayhem ROC, a proud member of the Pantheon podcast team, giving you more to listen for. Join our community, and always remember to keep it heavy.
So you're on tour with Tantric. I love Tantric. I know it's just Hugo. He's been carrying the flame of Tantric together for so many years, but they were like one of the best underrated bands of the early 2000s. And those first couple of albums, man, I played them all the time. I try to see them whenever they come up to Jersey. So tell Hugo when you see him, tell him there's fans out there and still appreciating that he flies the flag. But on the point of King's X, I was like, they're one of my favorites.
I absolutely will.
Tell Hugo, but
yes.
Go back to King's X. Like, I geek out on King's X. I'm a Jersey guy. I grew up with these guys. They were huge in this area. On Gretchen Goes to Nebraska, they cut their teeth in this area. What songs did you play when you were playing with your dad?
Dog Man. King's X, they're actually from Springfield, Missouri, which is our hometown. So we've got a lot of friends and family that were close to them and stuff. So it was kind of like, when I was growing up, it was like a hometown band from my perspective. And as I grew and, started like meeting people and talking about music, I've realized like, whoa, these guys are way bigger than I realized, and that like I conceptualized at first. So yeah, that Dokken album, like that was on repeat in our household for a lot of my childhood. And Gretchen Goes to Nebraska. Dude, we still listen to these albums like when we're driving on the road, like all the time. Huge inspiration.
That's awesome. Doug Pinnick's a friend of our shows. I had him on. Oh, it was, I think, February. We did an awesome episode on the history of Black influence in hard rock and metal. I welcome you to check it out. Doug and I sit down for an hour plus and we just geek out about every artist that was Black that contributed to hard rock and heavy metal. He's a spirited guy. Met him in person. Just a good dude. But what about the Life Project? Tell us a little bit about that one.
Yeah, so the Life Project started in 2020. It was kind of like a COVID project. Josh was he was looking for a female rock singer from the Midwest. And as you probably know, he was on Roadrunner Records, and Dave Rath was an A&R guy on the label for many years. And he also just happens to play drums for Heaven's Edge, which my boyfriend's band is Heaven's Edge. So anyway, Dave knew of me through that kind of connection. So when he found out that Josh was looking for female rock vocalist from the Midwest, he's like, well, have you looked out Casandra Carson? And so Josh was like, no, I don't know who that is. So he looked me up and looked up Paralandra and was like, oh yeah, I think this might be the girl that we're looking for. So Dave connected us. We talked over FaceTime and we just kind of like talked about our influences and what we were really trying to accomplish. Josh was just saying basically had like all these songs that were unfinished. Like he had the music done. There were no lyrics, no melodies or anything. But all different kinds of genres. I mean, like it was from like kind of theatrical metal to hard rock to blues to funk to like it sounded like a Disney show tune on one of them. Like it was literally just all over the mat. But I was like, I'm into it. Like I really enjoy just being creative no matter how the music comes out. So I was like, yeah, let's see what we can do together. And it's COVID. I'm not doing much. So let's try to be creative. So yeah, we just kind of slowly but surely, we started collaborating and working together. I think the first song that I wrote was The Nothingness, which is probably like my favorite Life Project song to date. And after writing that one, Josh was like pretty 100% like, okay, do you want to do this? Because I feel like we really got something here. And after that, I was like, yeah, let's just see what happens. So we kind of honed into this like melodic metal sort of genre and started trying to write within that theme and see what we could come up with. And really, it's just been like a lot of fun. It's just been kind of like stretching my legs and, keeping those muscles moving. And yeah, it's just been really fun. We've been able to tour as well. I actually was just in the studio recording more songs for the next Live Project release a couple months ago. I'm going back into the studio to record a few more songs in a couple weeks. So, we really haven't stopped writing or working behind the scenes. So, still lots more irons in the fire.
Sounds busy. You're juggling two bands and a other brand new album. So I just wanted to ask you a question. That like when Josh said he was seeking out a female singer from the Midwest, like is he Midwest as well? He just wanted somebody regionally, or like what makes the criteria of a female Midwest singer? Like what checks that box?
Well, there's some in the water. I don't know, but he's from Des Moines, so yeah, he was looking for somebody that was, fairly close. And for me, it was only like a 5.5-hour drive. So I could easily go up there, a couple times a week or once a week or whatever, to record, collaborate, work on stuff. So yeah, it was really more just like the location aspect.
Got it. That's cool. So Casandra, I wanted to, before we get into the new album, I think it's important to call out like, what I appreciate is there's been this like really big growth scene with either female fronted bands or all female bands. And it really has been an amazing surge. I mean, we had Lorraine Lewis ex-Vixen singer on, as well as Becky Baldwin, the bass player from Merciful Fate, to do, again, a Women's History Month on the influence of women in metal and hard rock earlier this year. But there's just so many great bands out there. And I just think of a couple bands. Obviously, there's the Hailstorms and the Evanescences, the Lacuna Coils. But you look at some of these newer bands like Plush and The Warning, Pretty Reckless. I mean, just what does it mean to you to see this growth, being a female singer, songwriter, guitarist, leader of two bands, yet a third album? How does that make you feel personally to see this whole rise in female-led groups?
I think it's great. I mean, I will say though, like I've never really thought of it in those terms as far as like I'm a female doing X, Y, or Z. I've always just felt like I'm a human being doing X, Y, or Z. So like it's never been like, oh, there's so many girl bands, or like I need to be the best female guitar player, the best female singer. Like I just want to be the best of the best. So like that's just kind of like this what does my therapist call it? Like this high just where I feel like I'm a perfectionist in a way, and I'm just always trying to do the best at whatever I'm doing, whether it's like music or sports or, you know, friendships or relationships or games or whatever. I'm just like always wanting to do great. So it's great seeing that there's like a lot of females out there getting the attention that they deserve. Um, but I don't know. I never really thought of myself that way. I don't really see myself as any kind of pioneer in any way, just another person trying to do a really great job and trying to create the best music that I possibly can.
Well, I like that attitude. I like that spirit, but appreciate your honesty on that. And therapy's good for you guys. Listeners, I have a therapist. Cassandra has a therapist. Therapy's all good. So anyway.
Please go to therapy, everybody. Yeah. Please.
It helps me. It helps her. It's a good thing. So let's catch up to the present. So before we get into the new album, I want to talk a little bit about the alliance with you and George Lynch. I mean, catch us up to speed before we get into you guys deciding to put an album. Like, where did this all start? Where's the back history? How did you meet him? Like, did your bands maybe open for Lynch Mob? Like, where was the connection? Where did it all start?
So it started in October of 2019 when I was on tour with my boyfriend and his band at the time, Tantric. They were playing in Colorado, like in Denver, I think, and then they had a day off, and Lynch Mob happened to be playing in Colorado Springs on that day off. So my boyfriend, Jaron, his favorite guitar player ever is George Lynch. So we had to go. And they just happened to know the venue owners. So, like, they got us into the show. They even snuck us into the back of the meet and greet line, like, so that we could go say hi to George. It was, like, really cool. And while we were in there, like, talking to George, the Tantric guys were like, by the way, if you need somebody to sing Street Fighting Man, Cassandra's your girl. And we were all kind of just joking, but he was like, oh, like, are you serious? Because we've got a fill-in singer tonight, and I don't think he knows all the words yet. And I was like, oh, well, like, if you actually need somebody, like, I do know the song and I can do it. And anyway, one thing leads to another. I did end up getting up on stage that night and singing Street Fighting Man with Lynch Mob. I did kind of like a duet with Keith St. John in a way, but it went really great. And that kind of kicked things off as far as like having a relationship with George. And then with Jimmy DeAnda, the drummer as well. Both were just really, really kind after that. And then I guess fast forward a few years, my boyfriend Jaron actually ends up getting the gig as Lynch Mob's bass player, which was just like a dream come true, absolute insanity. So last year in October, again, 2023, I just went because I had a weekend off and wanted to support and go, you know, see the show. So when I was there, George saw me again and he's like, Cassandra, we going to do Street Fighting Man again? You going to sing with us? And I was like, well, if you want me to, yeah, I still know the song, still know the words. So I got up on stage with him that night again, sang Street Fighting Man. This time I got to sing the whole thing instead of a duet. So that was cool. And then after the show, I was George's driver. I was driving him back to the hotel. And very short drive, like literally 5 minutes away. But we were just like kind of chit-chatting about how much fun we had had performing together. And George was really complimentary of my voice and like my energy on stage and those sorts of things. And so I was just like jokingly like, dude, next time we should do some Dirty Shirley. Like, that'd be really cool. And he was like so shocked, like, you know Dirty Shirley? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, that's like one of my favorite projects. Yes. And Dino is like probably my favorite singer right now. Like, so good. So anyway, he's like, well, it's funny you should say that because I'm going into the studio next week to record the second Dirty Shirley album, but Dino's not going to be singing on it. And we're looking for a singer and you should do it. And just literally right then and there was like, do you want to? Like, I'll talk to Frontiers. Like, you should really do this. And so what are you going to say? Of course I say yes. Yes, George Lynch, I will do an album with you. So, yeah, so that was literally as simple as it was. 2 weeks later, I had an email from George with 10 songs, or I should say 12. It was 11 songs. One was acoustic. And I just started writing. I started writing lyrics, started writing melodies, and 4 months later, I had all of the songs written and finally like finalized, recorded, and done. So it was a really, really quick, I don't know, just progress, I guess.
So you had so
It all
that's
happened. So
that is such a fucking cool story. I got to say that. A couple of comments on that. I remember that time with Lynch Mob where it was well, I'm not ripping on George, but it was a little bit of a weird period where I feel like every time he went on the road, he had to bring a different singer up in the on those weekends. So I remember that period well. But your boyfriend, I got to say, I met him in person at Dingbats in New Jersey a year ago when Lynch Mob played there. He's a super nice guy. I have a photo of him in my phone taken with him. So he's not going to remember me, but tell him I said hi. He's a very, very cool guy. And I remember him being in Tantric as well. And we had Heaven's Edge on, Mark Evans, about a year ago to promote the album, which I know Jaron played on. So there you go. It's all the one big
yes,
Frontiers family
all
there.
very connected.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. But
Well, I will definitely tell him.
yes, yeah, please tell him I said hi. He's super, super nice guy. He'll remember Dingbats because it's like one of the only dirty, dingy rock club bars in northern New Jersey. Everybody goes through there. It's a hole in the wall, but everybody plays there. So, but on the again, a question again, working with George. So you're saying that George pretty much had the music written, like the whole song structures, aside from the lyrics, the melodies, the harmonies, the topics, the titles. That was all your part. So you were given this pile of music, and he basically said, Cassandra, here you go.
Yes, it was all of his final guitar tracks to like a very basic drum loop. So I had the structure, I had the key of the song, all of the chord changes, all that good stuff. And then I would just listen to it and be like, okay, well, now I'm sectioning it out. Like, okay, this is where the verse goes. This is a pre-chorus section. This is a chorus. So I would like kind of like time stamp it all out and yeah, I don't know, organize. I'm very organizational.
Well,
So I would kind of do that. And I wrote a lot of the songs while I was at the gym. So I would just like have them on loop and I'd be kind of like singing along in my head, like finding melodies that way. And if I found a really cool melody, I'd like sing it into my voice memo real quick. Okay, I can't forget that. Or if, a few lyrics just happen to like pop out at me that like fit really well with the mood of the music of one song, then I would write those down and be like, oh, this song could kind of be about this subject or that. And once I had like a solid amount of little nuggets for a song, I would like really hone in on it and try to come up with a fully realized idea. And then just like record a little demo of it at home, send it to George, ask him for his feedback. And he would, either say it's really great or, maybe work on this one line or like, I feel like this one word could maybe be worked with a little bit better or, whatever. It was very collaborative and it was really fun to write to.
That's
The music itself was awesome. So it was really inspiring.
Well, I want to cover off on let's say my favorite tracks on the album, but I want to ask you about the album title first. So, Garden of Earthly Delights. It's clever, I must say. And I like the album cover. I'm an old school guy. We like to check out the album, but the album cover's kind of cool. It's like this devilish looking female out there in this forest, surrounded by owls and snakes and mushrooms and a few treasure chests full of gold. So I don't know if these were your designs and your ideas, but comment on the title and the artwork.
So we originally had a different working title for the album, but George had this really cool idea for the cover, which is this garden, this like ethereal, I don't know, just kind of like all of these temptations, like almost a Garden of Eden sort of thing. But I really loved the concept. And with Paralandra, we've actually done a lot of like Garden of Eden type things as well, because like Paralandra is a C.S. Lewis book that's about basically a Garden of Eden on a different planet. So like I already kind of come from a background that has experimented with that sort of vibe. So it felt like really at home for me to do something like that. So I was like, yes, like let's keep going with it. And we with the artist, refining the artwork, adding little details. We decided that the working title didn't fit the artwork. So George ended up coming up with Garden of Earthly Delights just based on the final artwork.
It's kind of cool. I was, and you can make the parallels that could be the album itself, right? There's this garden or album of earthly delights, these beautiful 11 tracks. So let's get into the tracks themselves. I mean, again, I love the album. There's definitely, it's just great end to end, but let's say the first track, Stranger, it's this fast rocker, and you hear that signature George Lynch guitar riff off the bat. You know it's him. It's heavy midsection. It's the perfect album opener if you want to kind of just hit your audience right between the teeth and say, this is who we are. But that lyric, Stranger, here we are invading all our minds. So what's this one all about?
I wrote this one about a UFO invasion.
Nice.
The music made me think War of the Worlds, and I was just envisioning like just worldly chaos and like UFOs flying all over the place and people screaming. And I don't know, I just like listening to the music, it was giving me like these visuals. It was almost like watching a movie in my mind. So I thought it was really silly, to be honest, kind of stupid at first. And I pushed the song off to the back burner till the very end because I was like, there's got to be something else. Like, this is so cheese. But anyway, I finally came back to it and I was talking to Jared about it. Like, tell me what you think about this because I don't know if I really want to go this direction. And he was like, okay, well, tell me what you got. And he really liked what I had come up with so far. And he was like, I don't see why you couldn't write a song about a UFO invasion. What's wrong with that? And I'm like, I don't know. I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Like, music and lyrics are very subjective. So people are going to interpret this in their own way, regardless of what it is to me. So we just decided to run with it. And Darren actually helped me bang out the rest of the lyrics that night. We finished the song and ended up being people's like favorite track, ended up being the first single. I was really shocked that one ended up being chosen.
That's pretty cool. Jaron plays on the album as well, correct?
He did not. He just helped me with writing lyrics on a few songs.
Okay, got it. All right, so now the second track, Impatient, like there's some contrast here compared to Stranger. This one's like mid-pace. It's more like that down-tune song. There's like this kind of groovy swagger to it. There's some cool bass lines. But what I like about this one is like the music kind of stays in the background and it allows you to go front and center and deliver that vocal. So I like this one because it is very different. But talk about what this song's all about, because it's a little creepy to me, that line, I sing your songs all day because I'm lonely. Like, what's going on here, Casandra? What were you doing? What were you thinking about when you wrote this one?
Well, sorry to be talking about Jaron literally this whole interview, but it is our anniversary.
Congratulations.
Like,
woo!
Thanks. Yeah, so we're in a long distance relationship. And, we're both musicians that are on tour basically 12 months a year. And so I wrote this song just out of, missing him and being impatient and being like, I want you to be here. And also from the perspective of like holding off on life experiences because you want to experience them with that special person. And just kind of like being in this like waiting, kind of suspended place. So yeah, that's what that one meant to me. And I sing your songs all day because I'm lonely, like listening to his music and stuff for comfort. Like that's where that came from.
Well, it sounds like on your anniversary today, if you're not together, this seems like the appropriate song to play together. Maybe get on the phone and you spin that song together for each other or something like that. So
He actually is with me today. He's on
All
tour
right.
with us right now, so I'm super excited.
is he playing back? Is he back with Tantric for this run?
No, he's kind of just like tour managing for Paralandra.
Okay. Okay.
Like
Got it.
whenever he doesn't have to tour or like be on the road working, he'll come on the road with us and he's super helpful, loading in, loading out of gear, just like all the behind the scenes logistics of, making a tour happen. He's really, really helpful with that sort of stuff.
That's good. Hopefully there's a better place to eat than celebrate your anniversary at like Applebee's or something, but let's hope for that. So, the next track.
We're going to go for a step above Applebee's, I think.
I'm just busting chops. Gotta laugh. But Closer to Heaven, this one's great. This is like one of those big, powerful songs. Like you really shine on this one. Big harmonies and melodies. Just like the soulful vocals that you deliver really come out there. I'm ready to spread my wings. Flying isn't always for angels. So seems very personal to you. Is there a personal story behind this one?
Yeah, this song was like a prayer for me. Like, please God, let one of these songs hit so that I can, be a financially successful musician. You know what I mean? So like in the beginning of the song, I say, today I planted magic seeds hoping they would grow for me. And what I mean by that is like, I'm writing songs. Like a song is like a magic seed. It's like if you water it, hoping that it'll grow into something fruitful that can provide for you and your family. That's kind of what I was talking about with this song is just like, I've been harvesting. I have been, doing the work with the crops. I have put myself into this, all the blood, the work, the sweat, the tears, and just praying for a payoff. So yeah, that's what the song's about.
Maybe a song like Just Business. I mean, I'm skipping around on the album here, but here, maybe there's a tie-in together, right? So Just Business. Bow Down to the Queen. This one's mid-paced. It's heavy. It's riffy. It's a bit bluesy. It has that Dokken-like supporting riff to open. But you seem a little like fired up on this one, Casandra. Like, what's going on in this song? What was your inspiration behind this one? You seem a little angry here.
This one I took from like whenever I wanted to quit my day job so badly. And I just wanted to be a musician. I just wanted full time to just work on music, to tour, to write. I don't want to be nailed down to the sales floor anymore. Those sorts of feelings. So it's just about like, you know what? It's just business. I'm sorry, but I can't stay here any longer. I'm not happy. This isn't good. And having the courage to just like stand up and walk away from something that you're not happy with anymore and chase after what you really want.
I love that attitude. As we're doing this interview now, my work laptop is about a foot to my left, waiting for that thing to go off at any time. And that one pays the bills. It pays for the family and the kids and the benefits. But I wish I could do this and get paid for it. But this is just for fun, but it's a lot more fun. I get it.
Yes, exactly.
So the other single, which you have a single and video out there, Devastating Times, like this one kind of sticks with you. It's a heavy, dark, it's a bit of a tense song, I feel like. Again, amazing pipes on the chorus. This is one of those ones where you're listening to you, but then you hear George and like he just fucking goes off like after the solo and that jam after. It's like, oh my God, this guy is unreal. But well, there's a lot of tongue-in-cheek lyrics to this one. There's like a Bridezilla reference in there, kind of this off with your head mentality. Like, what was your take on the lyrical content for this one?
Yeah, this one I had a lot of fun with. It wasn't really based on like literally what I wrote lyrically. But like you said, the gist, the concept was just about people who like are in a position of power or authority that abuse it and they treat the people around them, poorly. And that could be seen as like, a king who has lost his crown and he's literally going to kill all of his subjects until it's found. And then, you know, a bridezilla, like all these people are there to help her, to support her, to love her. And yet she's angry and she's furious and she's making everybody's lives a living hell. And, you know, not paying attention to the pain that they are causing and inflicting on other people because they're so wrapped up in themselves. So this was a fun one to write, just like as a concept, and coming up with different ideas of like how people act. And I don't know, it's a little bit deeper than the other ones, I guess.
Right. It's cool. I like it too. I think it's a good one. One of my other favorite, well, there's two other favorites that I highlighted, and then I'll throw it over to you. You could talk about some of the other ones if you want. But Ring Me Around, that's like this upbeat rocker, kind of a show opener type song. It's got that big anthematic chorus, killer George solo and shredding on the back end. And then track 10, Wicked Woman, is heavy, bluesy, sexy. You know, cool supporting harmony vocals built around this big chorus. You know, big, giant melodic guitar solo. I love those two tracks.
Thank you. I'm really proud of those two as well. Wicked Woman was fun because I basically took like all of the names that I was called from my past relationships and all of the mean things that were, you know, said about me. And I just kind of used them to my advantage. It was like, oh, you think that I'm crazy? You think that I'm wicked? Well, here I am. I'm going to be as crazy and as wicked as I possibly can. And I just kind of like took ownership of all of those names and empowered myself through them, I guess.
That's cool. That's cool. I like that one. Your therapist probably appreciates that perspective on those songs too, I bet.
Probably so.
It's channeling.
Reflection is a good thing.
Right. Reflection and putting it into something tangible. I love it. So, Casandra, what about some of the other songs? I mean, there's, you know, Waltzing Nights, Mind Eraser, Run for Your Life, Kneel Before You. You know, talk about some of these other ones. Like, any of your favorites on the air?
Well, actually, gosh, I love all of them. They're all my children.
Yes.
But you mentioned Ring Me Around, and that's got to be one of my favorite tracks of the album. Lyrically, I wrote it about just like the cycle of being in a toxic relationship and like getting knocked down and then, you know, forgiving them and getting knocked down and forgiving, and just like it keeps going round and round and round. And it's like being on a merry-go-round and you're getting dizzy and you can't tell up from down. And so that one was like a really fun one to write and a little deeper than probably people would realize, because it like lyrically is very playful and like a playground. But then like Waltzing Nights was really fun to write as well. That one was like a story that I conceptualized. It was actually the first one that I wrote out of all the songs. Waltzing Nights just kind of like, I don't know, fell out of me. It was like the easiest song to write of the whole album.
And that's like a little poppy.
And
It's like got a poppy feel to it, something like a radio track. There's a little, I can't pin it, like a country twang to it. There's something there that's different.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. And honestly, I was surprised that it didn't end up being a single, because it does feel like it's kind of got that like pop hook, and even a little bit on the countryside, like you said, which I'm not a country gal at all, but I really love the song. And it's a really fun one to sing. So yeah, I don't know. I really love all of the songs. They all mean a little something different to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe the magic question, Casandra, is will we ever see these songs presented in a live setting? Like, is there a means to get out there and tour this, maybe do a couple of shows or play a couple of tracks maybe with George? You know, if he's up there with Lynch Mob, or is this going to be kind of like just a studio album? What's the expectations?
I would love to be able to play some of these songs live more than anything. I mean, we're not going to like create a Cassandra's Crossing band and go tour. At least that's not my expectation. As cool as that would be, I'm not expecting it. But Paralandra will be opening for Lynch Mob on a number of dates, January through March of next year. We're going to be their direct support for the rest of their final ride tour. So my plan is to get George to, at least do a couple, like one or two songs. Like, I don't think that.
I think you got to do that. I mean, if you could get up there and jam a Dokken song, you can certainly get up there and do a couple of these songs. He seems cool with it, and extend the show a little bit.
Right? Right?
You get the singer guy, he gets a chance to take a break for a couple songs. You come up, it sounds like a perfect idea. Well, hopefully that tour comes through New Jersey and New York. I'm sure it will. And I'll make sure I get out there and say hi to you guys. So Casandra, what else you got going on for the rest of the year? What's your plans for the rest of this year and next year? And tell us like the socials. Where can we find out all about this album and where can it be purchased?
Sure. So for the rest of 2024, I'm going to be on the road with Paralandra. We are touring. We're on the West Coast right now, but we actually have some East Coast dates coming up first couple of weeks of December. And then I'll be in the studio with the LIFE Project as well, beginning of December, recording new material. So I've got lots of new music that will be released next year that I'm super, super stoked about. And then, of course, like I mentioned, Paralandra is going to be on the road with Lynch Mob. Hopefully we'll get to do some Cassandra's Crossing songs January through March of next year. Tons of tour dates flooding in. And then I don't know if I'm forgetting anything, but aside from all that, you can find our schedule for Paralandra at paralandrarocks.com on our website. And then on socials, you can just find Paralandra, or you can follow me, Casandra Carson, for, all the Paralandra LIFE Project, Cassandra's Crossing related things all in one place. So, but yeah, there's never any shortage of happenings going on in my world. So, come be part of the journey if you want.
That's awesome, Casandra. So I wish you the best with all of these projects, and especially this Cassandra's Crossing. It was fun to talk to you, and I'm sure we'll have you back on again and, get out there and support your band. So just as a reminder, head over to metalmayhemrodc.com, sign up for the email newsletter, and it's the best way to stay updated on new podcast episodes such as this. And join us Monday nights on our live radio show at metaldevastationradio.com. And if you like what we're doing, leave us a review at Apple Podcasts. It's the best way to get feedback and hear from the listeners. So today for my guest, Casandra Carson, I'm Metal Walt, and this is Metal Mayhem ROC. All right. Thanks, Casandra. It was fun catching up. And best of luck. I'm sure you'll be through here at some point, and I'll make sure I come out and check you guys out.
Absolutely. We actually just got another New York date for February as of yesterday.
Okay.
So I know that we're gonna be in your area.
Like
so
New York
we'll
City, New York City, or Long Island, or something like that.
I think it was upstate New York,
All
but
right.
there's still more being added.
Okay. Well, tell Darren and tell Hugo. I would love to get Hugo on the show. So tell him. I'd love to talk to him about his career. If there's a way I can hit him up, let him know. I'll hit him up on Facebook or something. I'll get him on the show. That would be cool.
I absolutely will. He'd be a good guy to talk to.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. That's cool. Tell Jaron I said hello and thanks for the time.
Metal for Life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.